Hi, I'm Tim Bradner. Welcome to Capitol Views, and welcome today to Lon Garrison, the Executive Director of the Alaska Association of School Board. Um, Lon, schools are going to be a big topic of interest this legislative session, but maybe you could tell me a little bit about the association and the structure of school boards and what it is that you folks do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for asking me. Uh, the Association of Alaska School Boards was actually founded in 1954, so even before statehood. So the association has been around for quite a long time, and it really was formed in order to provide services to support school boards across the state in understanding what their job was in school governance. And provide training, resources, and advocacy for local school districts when it came to dealing with the state government and the federal government in providing resources that school districts need in order to operate. And one of the few things that's really mandated in the state constitution is that a system of public education needs to be provided for the students of the state. So we see a good part of our role as trying to make sure that that happens and to help local school boards understand what they need to do to be successful in that. So we're we have there are 54 school districts across the state. 52 of those are members of our association, and that includes Mount Edgecombe. Because they are associated with the state of Alaska, the Department of Education, they're automatically a part of our organization, and we kind of consider them a school district unto their own. The only two districts that aren't members are the Matsu School District and Aleutians Region. So we cover a pretty wide swath of folks across the state, and that consists of probably close to 330 school board members that we work with and that are part of our membership. And then, of course, along with the folks that they work with, their superintendents, we also, work together with that shared leadership piece. So it's a big job. We provide services such as board training, roles and responsibilities. We provide model policies and online policy tool that boards can utilize to publish and be able to access their board policies for governance. And then we do other things like we also facilitate superintendent searches. We do facilitated superintendent evaluations. And then we have a whole group of folks in our organization that are focused on what we call the conditions for learning. And originally it was known as Alaska Initiative for Community Engagement, or Alaska ICE. And this group really came out of the work that was funded primarily early on by what was known as earmark funding through Senator Ted Stevens. And it was focused on trying to improve community engagement and engagement between parents and schools, and understanding that students need, positive role models and positive assets within a community to succeed in their educational career. And we've continued that work, and now we have renamed it Conditions for Learning, and we have a number of federal and state grants that we implement that are focused on that work. And it's pretty comprehensive, working with districts all across the state. So I hope that gives you some idea of what AASB is.
It's a good overview. Lon, could you maybe explain for us that there are different kinds of school boards in Alaska? There's the traditional urban municipal school boards, and then we have the rural education. Maybe you could explain the difference between those two, and both are elected, and maybe a little bit about the power
Yes.
of the RAAs compared with traditional urban districts.
Yeah, good point. So in the state of Alaska, which is kind of an unusual circumstance, we have a lot of what's known as unorganized areas within the state. So those areas that are organized or have some sort of a local government, it's through that system and that structure that local school boards are elected. So whether it's a borough or a municipality, home rule, whatever it might be, school boards usually exist within that structure and are elected in those areas. And they're actually elected. They are working on behalf of the state. So they're a locally elected state official, if you will. In those areas of the state where we don't have that kind of organization, where we have especially in Western Alaska, Southwestern Alaska, North Alaska, there's a lot of unorganized lands. Many of those lands are federal lands, or they may be tribal lands. And so those school districts are organized in regional education association areas, REAAs. And so long ago, statutes were put together to form these REAAs, and within those, the state of Alaska and the Division of Elections uses a system to allocate seats within those organizations, and school boards elect members within those areas. So it's much like maybe districts in larger format, in larger areas. And so those school districts then have a number of seats. It can be anywhere from 5 to, I think the largest board we have is 11 members. And I believe that might be Bering Strait. And then beyond that, they function pretty much the same in terms of their operations. Although regional association areas don't get local funding directly from villages and those kinds of things. They're funded strictly through state and federal funds primarily.
Well, we have just a short time left, but basically, maybe just remind us that school boards and school districts don't raise funds directly within municipalities. They're dependent on their host municipalities. But in the RAAs, it's the state that provides the funding, but the districts, the school boards guide the funding.
Yes, that's correct. Unlike many other states that may have, school boards may have taxing authority, school boards in Alaska do not. So they rely entirely on the state or local organizations such as municipalities or boroughs.
Well, thank you. It's a full plate that you folks have this year, particularly in a time of rising inflation and costs. So we'll be hearing a lot more about education all through the session. Thank you very much, Lon, for joining us.
Oh, you're most welcome. It's good to be with you, Tim.